There are a number of factors which may be causing rolling blackouts by this summer.
Are you ready for the possibility of summer power outages?
Like us, you've probably been watching the news, other YouTubers, experts who are all saying exactly the same thing. We face the distinct possibility over half the United States, in fact, could be impacted by rolling blackouts this summer.
So you need to get some things in place in order to cope with that possibility. And also, of course, there's always a possibility of summer storms that can cause more what I would call natural power outages. So it's always good to be prepared. And today we're going to talk about the Opus 1800 watt power station and what that can do for you.
Now, we just did a two-part series on preparing for these possible blackouts, and so many of you said, would you please just tell us more about the Opus 1800? Now, a few months ago, we did a review of the little brother, that's the Opus 1200, and we liked it so much, Opus sent us the 1800, and we have really been enjoying this updated model. Now, in the course of this program, we'll tell you a little bit about the differences between the 1200 and the 1800. We'll tell you what the 1800 would power in our home that the 1200 wouldn't, and a little bit about the features and why we are actually really excited about this portable power station.
But first, if you don't know us, I'm Larry.
And I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where every week we talk about practical frugality.
So what exactly is a portable power station in the first place?
Well, a portable power station, you might say, is the little brother to the gas generator. Now, it's not really a generator. It's more of a battery bank that does a lot more than just a normal battery bank. It has the ability to supply all kinds and types of power that you're going to need in the event of a power outage.
Now, unlike gas generators, which absolutely are never designed to ever be brought inside your home, you could have carbon monoxide. In fact, if you even get that gas generator too close to your home and the fumes go in the open windows. These portable power stations are actually designed specifically to be used inside a closed space. That's one of the distinct advantages.
Right. They supply clean, quiet power. And you can use these in apartments, condominiums, even on camping trips where you're very close to other people and you don't want the noise pollution or the carbon monoxide pollution. So there's so many advantages to these portable power stations. These power stations can help you keep vital equipment running in your home, things that you need every day. You might have a need for certain medical equipment. Now, we're not experts in the medical field. You would need to check your medical equipment to make sure that it will be powered by these units. So we don't want to take any responsibility for recommending it for specific uses, but they can supply power for those. They can supply power to sump pumps and things you're going to need in a storm to keep your house dry. They're very handy in blackout situations.
There are three things that are absolutely really vital in any emergency situation, and the Opus 1800 will absolutely take care of all three of those things, and that is phones, lights, and communication devices. We're going to tell you all about the Opus 1800. Our thanks to Opus for reaching out to us and sending us the 1800 watt unit to give it a try, but Opus also wants to reach back out to you, our audience, because they have a special 15% off coupon. That coupon is available for a limited time. You'll see it right down there at the bottom of the screen. And we're also going to put a link to Opus and the coupon code in the description of the video.
So, I always wondered, what does Opus stand for? Well, on their website, it says that it stands for Our Power Station. That's what the name actually stands for. It's derived from Our Power Station.
Now, all of you know that Larry is the geek in this family. He loves to delve into the specs on all of these power backup units, and he's going to give you all of the details.
Well, first, I want to say overall, it is an extremely well-designed unit. It's well-built, it's durable, it'll handle a lot of use and even abuse. I'm very impressed with just how well it is put together. On the front, it has a really nice display. I like this display.
I do too.
It's bright. In fact, it even shows up outside in the sun when you're solar charging it. Right in the center, it has a big round number that says the percentage of the battery life that's left on it. Now, a lot of units only have battery bars. This one gives you the exact number, which I found to be very accurate. It shows you the amount of time that you have left at its current usage. So when you have something plugged in, it'll tell you how many hours and minutes that it will supply power at its current consumption rate.
Oh, that's super helpful. Let's say that you are using it to power something larger like your refrigerator, and you're thinking, how long is it going to power this refrigerator before it goes down to zero? It's going to let you know that. And it does have pass-through charging, which means you can use it and you can charge it simultaneously at the exact same time.
There are two switches on the front. There's an AC side, that's alternating current. That's what you plug things into your wall outlet. And there is a DC side. You can turn those on together, or you can turn just one of them on at a time. That's important because whenever you have something turned on, it's going to be drawing a certain amount of power off of that battery. So for instance, if you don't have to use the AC power, but you're going to use it to charge your cell phone or your tablet on the DC side, it won't be using as much energy because it won't be running that power inverter.
The other thing we really like about the Opus 1800 is the fact that it is a pure sine wave.
Yeah, so what is a pure sine wave? What does that mean? Well, there's two basic kinds of inverter. There's a modulated sine wave, and it's basically a straight line that it goes up, another straight line, another one up, and so on. It's choppy. It's not smooth. This has a curved sine wave, the same kind of power that comes out of your outlet that's generated from your electrical plant. And that is the kind of power that most of the devices in your home likes. That's particularly true with motors. Motors will run cooler, faster, and more efficient if they're running off a pure sine wave. And inside your computer, even your little laptop is a fan, and that's a motor, and it's really important to keep those running on pure sine wave. And really, most of these power stations do put in a pure sine wave inverter. The Opus 1800 comes with a 1488 watt battery. That's watt hours. Why is it important to know that figure? Okay, so if you have an item that runs 700 watts, like a small heater, what does 1488 watt hours mean? You divide that by 2 and you roughly get 700. That means a 700 watt appliance will run for 2 hours. So you can do a little math and figure out how much your items are going to run, how long they'll run on this particular power station. Of course, like we mentioned before, it will tell you on its built-in readout how much time it has left to run. But it's nice to know what it will do.
Here's something else about the battery that gets Larry really excited.
Revved.
This battery is a lithium iron phosphate battery. I think I said that right.
You did say it right.
Tell him what it means.
I am proud of Hope.
Thank you.
You did a great job of that.
Tell me what it means.
Well, it's one of the newer types of battery formulas that they've come out with. I'm really impressed that the Opus 1800, in fact, all of the Opus power stations come with a lithium iron phosphate battery. Well, why is that good? Well, a lithium iron phosphate battery will take a lot more charging cycles. In fact, they say that it'll take about 2,500 cycles before it will give you only 80% of its capacity. Well, that's a lot of cycles. I mean, there's only 365 days in a year, and you're probably not going to charge this up that even every day. So that battery is going to last you for years and years. A lithium ion battery, by contrast, is only rated at about 500 cycles, so that's much less. So that is a very important factor. The other important factor in a lithium ion phosphate battery is that it will hold its charge a lot longer. So if you charge this unit up to 100% and you set it in a closet and you bring it out 3 months later, and I've done this, it still will have 100% of the charge left on the battery. Isn't that amazing? So it really keeps its charge a lot longer. So it's going to be a longer lasting battery. It's also a safer battery. It's not prone to catching on fire or explosion as much as the lithium-ion batteries are. And having said that, the lithium-ion batteries are a lot better about that. They're a lot safer than they used to be when they first came out with them.
We're going to run through just a few more technical aspects of the Opus 1800. But for those of you who are waiting to just find out, tell me what it will run in my house. We're going to get there, okay? We promise you, so stick with us. And we want to know in the meantime, drop us some comments in the comments section. Do you own a battery backup system? What are you using in your house? Do you have a portable power station? We want to know, especially if you got an Opus, tell us that too.
Yeah, a lot of people live off the grid and use these all the time for their main power source. So that would be interesting to know if you're one of those off-grid people.
Please tell us.
Well, the Opus 1800 can be charged basically 3 different ways. There actually are some more ways if you want to use some different combinations. But the first thing is it does come with its own AC power pack, and that runs at about 186 watts. I charged it last night from 0 to 100%. So here's the charger, and it's showing 0%, and this is 9:55 p.m. We're going to see how long it takes to charge the unit all the way up from 0. I started it at 10 p.m. and ran it until 6 a.m. Well, it is 6:01 a.m. and the Opus 1800 is completely charged up. Now, I wouldn't recommend running it all the way down to 0%. Run it down to maybe 40, 35%. It's just better on the battery if you don't run it all the way down. It's okay to do it every so often. You can also charge it with solar panels. Although the main unit you can purchase without solar panels for quite a bit less, the solar panels give it that independence that you're wanting in a portable power station. So we have the 2 100-watt panels that Opus makes, and it will actually charge, let's say, from 40% on up to 100. It'll charge that in about 4 to 5 hours out in our backyard. But that all depends on solar conditions. If it's partly cloudy, it's not going to charge as fast. If it's real cloudy, it won't charge at all. You can't use those on a cloudy day. It has to have sun. If it's bright sun, it'll charge it up very quickly. That's charging at about 138 watts right now, 140. And the only other way that it'll charge is with a DC cord. This is a cigarette lighter cord that you can plug into your car. That can take up to 15 hours to charge, but that might be important if you're on a road trip. You can set the unit in the back seat, hook it up to that cigarette lighter in your car, and it will charge. It charges slowly, but it does charge. Then maybe when you get to your site, you can throw the solar panels out and finish it out.
It's got a lot of built-in protections, guys. It's going to keep it from overloading, overheating, over-discharging, or short-circuiting.
I've actually tested this out. I had it plugged into the washer and turned it on, and it just stops immediately and flashes at you. You turn the unit off, turn it back on, and it's fine. It has a variety of power outputs. Of course, it has 3 AC plugs, and that will hook anything that you plug into 110 volts up to the system. It also has several on the DC side. It has USB-C ports, has 2 of those, 2 USB-A ports. It has some DC 8mm output ports, and also a cigarette lighter port that you might use just to plug, let's say, a portable air compressor into. This unit comes with a built-in area light. Now, a lot of them come with a light. It'll be a real little small flashlight. This is a 1000 lumen light that will actually light up a whole room. One of the most important things that you need in a power outage is light, and this will deliver it right at your fingertips.
So here's what you've been waiting for. What will the Opus 1800 run, and what will it not run?
Well, the Opus 1800 will run about 99% of your home appliances, at least for a certain amount of time. It will run large loads for short time, so that's something you have to take into consideration. Main things around the kitchen, it'll run your coffee pot. There it goes up to the appropriate watts, 793 watts. That's a lot of power just to pull out of a battery. to run a coffee maker. It'll run your microwave. It's ready to be warmed up. Now this uses quite a bit of power. And as you can see, that is piping hot coffee. This is an item that the Opus 1100 unit will not run. So we have some really good pieces of toast, and it'll run a toaster oven. And in fact, today I actually popped popcorn with my air popper on it. It will run your vacuum cleaners. The other unit would not run those, so this is something that it'll do a little bit better. It'll run any of your power equipment, for instance, saws, sanding equipment, drills, that kind of thing. It'll run all of those pieces of equipment. It'll run air compressors, and it will even power my garage door opener. About 307 watts, and there's the garage door open.
Now, one of the questions that we've gotten asked, probably more than any other question, is will it run my deep freeze and will it run my refrigerator?
I did a test on our deep freezer, and I found out that we have a pretty new deep freezer. We just purchased that, about a year
Couple of years ago.
Couple of years ago. It's an Energy Star efficient freezer. It's a 15 cubic foot, and it only draws 92 watts while it's running. Now, a freezer does not run all the time. Just like a refrigerator, it starts and stops, so it's not going to be a continuous draw. That will run for several days with this unit if it's fully charged and that's the only load that you have on it. It will also run a full-size refrigerator, and I've got some video of that. So the refrigerator is running at about 135 watts, and you can hear it's actually running that just fine. And I don't have a determination on how long it would run it, but if you're without power, and let's say you've been out of power for several hours, you can plug your refrigerator in and let it run until it shuts off, and now you've got all your food back at the right cooling temperatures.
And that's the thing we think you really need to understand. This is not like a continuous source of power that never runs out. It does eventually run out, and how quickly it runs out depends on the load you put on it and how many things you're trying to run simultaneously. So you just need to be aware that, eventually you're going to have to use solar to power it up again, or you're going to have to recharge it using another method. But it does give you a relatively good peace of mind. And the other thing it gives you is the ability to go ahead, plug that refrigerator in right away, because that's the big thing we all worry about. If you have something you absolutely need, go ahead, plug it in. It gives you time to figure out how long it's going to run it and what your plan of action is for giving yourself power and keeping that power running as long as possible.
One of the things you're going to need in a power outage situation is information. And this will power your modem. It'll power your computer. You can keep your computer charged up. If you have a laptop, of course, your laptop runs off of a battery, but it will run down. So this can charge up your laptop and keep you running. You can get in communication with your close loved ones and friends and find out what they're doing. And you can find out what is going on, especially if it's a major storm situation.
Remember that Opus has that 15% off coupon. It's available for a limited time. We don't know exactly how long, but you're going to want to grab it and use it right away. There's a link to that in the description of the video, and there's a link right to Opus. You want to know what other things Larry and I have on tap for emergency power? We did a video on it. There's a link to it right over there.